was great. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. You
I
figured
know.
it out. I'm so proud of you.
I was like, please let me figure this out. First Instagram Live. Let's go.
I know. I was so excited. How are you?
I'm good. I'm close up. Let me see.
I know you have to really like hold it away.
I'm holding it, but am I supposed to go this way or am I supposed to go this way?
No, the way that you are is perfect.
Okay.
I feel like I'm like really bright. So how's your quarantine?
I think we're all getting challenged. But I think the best part about it is I know, for my immediate family, we're hanging, my son and daughter are home and we're kind of back to that opportunity to be all together, which is a blessing. Usually we pay thousands to go on vacation together and now we get to be together for free, which is kind of fun. As for the Bruins, it's tough. It's definitely tough. We're doing all we can to stay together, but it's moments like this that I'm super proud of them. We're still finding ways to stay connected and find purpose in what we're doing. So, we're everyone's managing to the best of their ability, but the best part is everyone's healthy and with their families, and that's the most important thing right now.
Yeah, has anybody gotten sick at all, or has
No.
everybody stayed healthy?
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and on top of it, nobody that's really directly impacted, or like in our immediate circle.
Right.
So that's really good news for all of us that we're not dealing with, someone who really is like just right there in the first line. So very, very fortunate.
Right.
But as you watch the news, that's really hard.
Oh yeah, the news can get really scary.
Yes, it's definitely.
How are Mikey and Kylie?
Well, being able to be contained is difficult, but we have a church parking lot right down the street. So of course my husband converted the garage into a full weight room. So, their ability to train and lift is still there. We were able to go and purchase bikes and face masks. So we're biking, without just within our neighborhood and just being safe. But I could say there's a lot of video gaming going on. My daughter it's difficult to be a freshman in high school, but I always remind her it could be worse to be a senior. Those seniors are it's a difficult time for those seniors that are missing out on all those senior things. So they're fine. In the bigger picture, they're fine. We're all good to go. How's your family?
Good. My parents have just been at the river, hunkered down. They haven't left at all. They've
Not
just
a bad place
stayed.
to be.
And then, and then Kyle, as a police officer, he's still working every single day.
Front line.
So that's challenge. Yeah. And it's challenging, obviously, because I'm pregnant. So it's like, it's weird because he's so exposed. So it's different, it's like, it's really different. Okay. So I asked my fans questions that they wanted me to ask you, and hands down, the number one question is, how do we get the Kelly Eye ponytail?
Oh my God.
Is there a special product, a special brush? Is there something?
No, I think I completely credit my mom. A lot of hair, a lot of hair. I think that's it. But then, I don't know. I think I've always had long hair, and I'm fortunate that it's just really thick and a lot of it. So believe it or not, I can get showered, full wet hair, blow dry, curled in less than 20 minutes. It's kind of, I know, you guys would be shocked.
No way.
But a big part of it is because my hair is, it's unfortunate. As you get older, your hair gets really dry. My hair is actually super dry. So there's the key. Get really dry hair and
20 minutes.
That's literally, I've timed it because the girls are like, you take so long to get ready. I'm like, no, really. And then I sometimes will go up to the stadium completely and shower. Like I'll leave before 6 and get up there and shower, and I'll have my hair wet and I'm like, okay, watch. So I'll blow dry it and curl it, and they're like, no way. Yeah. So I mean,
so awesome.
They know, and then they laugh all the time. They're like, there's clearly a difference between fresh curls, clean hair, and not so fresh.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Everyone knows that. And then the next question is, how many pairs of aviators in your collection?
Oh, it's so funny. John Savage, the baseball coach at UCLA, used to always tease me. I was always a Ray-Ban always a Ray-Ban girl, like the kind of, I wasn't really into the sporty glasses, but then when we turned Under Armour, they're like, you got to ditch them. I'm like, I'm not into the sports glasses. I'm sorry, I'm not going to wear the sporty ones. So they sent me like 20 of them and said,
Oh
choose
my
which one.
gosh.
So I have several, but we're fortunate. I definitely, I don't know. There's a certain style that I would prefer over just the sporty look. Sorry.
Right, right. Hey, is your internet connection strong? I feel like you're cutting in and out. Are you far from your internet source, or do you have weird service?
Let me see. It's kind of
Like a
weird.
little. I don't know. Sometimes, and I think right now with everybody working from home online, it's like the internet is just so weird.
Okay, is that a little better?
I think so, yeah.
I just
Okay,
decided to go outside.
some coaches were asking, because obviously with the quarantine, so many people are going to like digital lessons, but is there a digital brand like a Rapsodo or Blast or like some sort of technologically driven brand that you and the Bruins like to use?
Well, we're fortunate that we have Don Slott, who is our
Uh-huh.
hitting coach, and so he's worked predominantly with RVP,
Uh-huh.
and we've done some pretty extensive things with On Base U, which is,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's really, we've taken the time to take our athletes through some screening, and then with it, but that's something separate. When it comes to the technology, because my hitting coach is Don Slott, and because he's the creative RVP, we have used that platform to be able to pull together video, break it down, go side by side, and we have had some sessions where we've covered some of the mechanics of hitting, and then now he's taking the
Mm-hmm.
individual drills and using the software system that we have. We have data. We have some data from Rapsodo. We have some data from Blast. I can't say we're not in a position to make our athletes do anything at this point, So, and I know
Oh, right.
everyone's trying to figure out their way, like, how are you going to continue to do this? So there are a lot of opportunities out there, but I think right now we're not really focusing on softball as much. So we're mainly reviewing kind of, one of my big things is operate within your strength zone. So really, what are
Mm-hmm.
you really what are you good at? So I've been showing a lot of great video, and then outside your comfort zone is we're always trying to figure out ways to get them to see how they could possibly improve. So we're using our VP. And it's because Dawn can put them side by side up against
Right.
pros, up against the NPF girls or whoever, or just themselves.
Right. I've been seeing some of this stuff, like your pitchers and catchers and your staffs getting on Zoom calls. I even saw when all of them changed their background to their favorite
Yeah,
Lisa
there you go.
Fernandez picture. I was laughing so hard.
They they're
I
so
feel like
funny.
your pitcher catcher unit is so tight. How,
Yeah.
and I mean, I really noticed it last year, with Rachel Garcia, but obviously hasn't even been a part this year and it still stayed that intact. Like, what's the magic behind that?
I honestly think they've made a decision. I intentionally put Lisa Fernandez back in the bullpen, and there's a mental toughness that Lisa has a discipline for that I'm telling you is not for everyone, and it's not been the easiest thing throughout the years of UCLA. I think she's evolved as a coach to really not just tell them what they should do, but really be in it with them and really inspire them. So I intentionally wanted her to be able to get back in there and make it harder. And I can tell you, it wasn't easy. Even last year, it was a challenge for them to go through. She had them, wearing sleeves and wearing tights and doing workouts before they're pitching, and it was a transition. It definitely was. But what it pulled together is, as with anything, when you go through hard things together, it pulls you together. And they now
Yeah.
trust. They now trust that process that is not easy for athletes. Nobody likes to go through intense, super hard training that almost breaks you, or
Right.
why are we wearing extra tights and super hot or look different than everybody else, or the mental preparation that she really goes through is tough, because I'm going to be honest, there's people that could say, well, I'm not Lisa Fernandez, so
Uh-huh.
if I'm not Lisa, I'm not going to be like Lisa. And it's just the opposite. I think she has evolved in the last 10 years to really learn how to inspire these athletes. And because not intentionally was she ever any other way, it's just hard to look at her separate from Lisa Fernandez. And she made
The
a statement.
Olympian, right? The
Right.
greatest.
Yeah, and probably one of her most powerful coaching moments
Yeah.
is she said, I don't want to be Lisa Fernandez. I just want to be your coach. And whatever I can do to help you, I'm here for you. And it really hit the pitchers and catchers, like, and everybody, all the team, like, it's true, and she has proven that. She's very caring. She's very hard. She's very consistent. If there's one unique quality about Lisa Fernandez is the discipline that she has. I have not seen that in anyone else. She will be relentless with a consistent approach to excellence, and they now embrace it. And I think a big part of that is Rachel Garcia has learned. Rachel's been cut from that. She challenges herself. She's like a CrossFit monster. So it wasn't, but she was a voice of, let's just do it. Let's just do whatever we can.
And it's cool when you have a coach that's doing it with you, not 100%. Just telling you, but doing 100%. It with you. It's a different feeling. Right. And she's like running with them or biking with them and like doing the workouts. You're like, whoa, okay, cool.
But I think the big voice now, is Megan Faremo. Megan, she's the kind of girl right after the USA, the junior national team was over last summer. It was funny. I was talking to her travel coach and he said, he sent me a message and he just said, most girls from junior national team are just can't wait to finally have a little bit of summer before college. And Megan went straight up to UCLA. She's like, I'm going to join my teammates that are doing an optional workout because I want them to know that I'm in it. And this next year, it's my responsibility. So she went straight up with that mentality that she learned. I'm going to keep working, even though, am I tired? Yes. Am I, am I physically exhausted? Am I mentally? Do I want a break? But she did just the opposite. So Megan and all the pitchers. So now that bleeds into Sosa. And, Holly's been injured, so it hasn't been as easy for Holly, but Holly also is relentless with the consistency. So when you add in new catchers, we added in Genevieve and we added in Melissa. And all three of them are new. It was very simple to say, this is who we are. So that group is really, really close. They study together, they train together, they inspire each other, they get through it together, and then they stay connected. They're actually our only scheduled Kara hours as the pitchers and catchers because they requested it. But
wow, that's awesome.
We're making it more optional as hitters. When you're in between study or whatever you're doing, they check in with Coach Don.
Well, and we know, like, as catchers, which I think people forget that you were a 4-year starter at UCLA who won 3 national championships as a catcher. But I think what happens with catchers is we kind of are the glue to the unit, but the focus is on pitchers, right? You hear the names of the pitchers. You don't hear 100%. The names of the catchers, but we're the glue.
Right. Well, I think that's probably the most important part.
All of your new girls have done incredible. Like your new they're amazing. Like it's Alyssa and Genevieve. I'm so proud of Alyssa, especially, and Genevieve, obviously instant impact, but there's just like a different feel when you were watching this year. It was so exciting. Like it was rhythmic and I don't know, it just felt really electric.
I think it's fun too in that, Lisa and I get to work together from a pitcher-catcher perspective. So, she can help the catchers and being able to say, this is what pitchers want as far as targets or how you deliver signals. And then vice versa, I could work with the pitchers a lot as catchers do with that mental approach. Like there's times when, you get this generation, you get a signal and you may not be fully bought into it, and how you approach owning your game. Like I have always wanted the catchers to call the games, because we know that pitcher-catcher relationship. We know the umpire. We know the strike zone. We get a feel and a vibe for that hitter in the box. And those things are important. But if you don't have your pitcher dialed into the same thing, then there's a missing link. So getting the pitchers to own their game, like don't just follow. And I threw it to Rachel a lot, and I challenged Megan a lot, and those guys and it's not that we don't trust. It's learning how to own. And that's a pitcher-catcher relationship that we have to be able to continue to develop, because catchers in this generation just look left, get a signal, and put it down.
Look at their arm guard, and
instead of really figuring out how to get that pitcher dialed into a pitch. So, I'm proud of the pitchers and the catchers as they, our job, Lisa and I, is to teach them the game. Not to just follow, but teach them the game, understand the game. And I think Lisa's doing an outstanding job of showing them hitters, and then I'll still work with them on their mentality, like how it's okay, but your ability to really, truly, before you step on that rubber, you better own that pitch. And the catchers bringing out that confidence in the pitchers is something you have to work on. And I'm super proud of our girls because they understand it's not just about framing pitches and blocking. There was a relationship that has to be built, and that takes time. especially when you have new people. So credit them. They're investing in each other. And I'm glad that people like you who know the game can see it because they're putting the time in. And I think we got to see that with a very young staff. You know, we had a very, very, very young staff that is just brought, that they really trust the process. They're bought into it, but they trust each other. And that to me as a coach is when we're doing our best, is if we can get our athletes to understand the game and trust each other, then let them play and great things can happen from that. They'll learn. There is no failure. They'll just learn every single opportunity.
Right. Well, and I think what was so powerful for UCLA this year is a lot of people didn't think UCLA was going to be as good as they were, mostly because of Rachel Garcia, but they just completely discounted the work that was going in when nobody was watching, right?
Sure.
That work that you're talking about that nobody sees, because I think everybody, every coach, every player wants the outcome. They want to win games. They want the scholarship. They want to hit the home runs. They want to throw the runners out, but they don't realize that those moments come in the bullpen, at practice, in your garage 100%. By yourself, right now during quarantine. Like, that's when those moments are built, right? And so I think that so many young athletes, especially this generation, for some reason, focuses on the outcome over the preparation. And I think what UCLA does such a good job of is preparing.
Well, I think, and we call it, you know, very simply trusting the process. So, you know, the mental side, you know, and one of the things that I like too is, you know, pitchers and catchers are always in the bullpen, and no one really sees what, like you said, no one really sees what's going on, even at our own practices. And what they built was, there was a work ethic. We'd be in the batting cages and we got a Peloton. Thank you, Gentro. We got a Peloton that was in the batting cage. I created another lane and took one lane down so the pitchers were literally doing like an hour of Peloton before they did their pitching workout. And the hitters would go, oh, okay, all right, so it's okay, Megs, we see you. And and then Lisa has created a lot more challenges in the bullpen where by nature you'd hear all this noise and you'd look right and go, okay, what's going on in the bullpen? But there was, and very rarely do you see that. And for catchers, I really valued the time that they had in the bullpen. Most catchers get in there and just receive. And I really challenged Lisa to engage them. Let them be engaged in the process and not just receivers. And for catchers, they hadn't learned how to step up and communicate. So I would go over there and ask, you know, hey, you know, just listen and see how the feedback is. It just Lisa pitcher conversation, or are the catchers involved? And credit them. You know, they learned outside of their comfort zone, you know, how to figure out how they can impact a workout, you know, with energy, with feedback, with questions, being engaged. Those are the catchers that I believe are at their best because they're thoroughly invested in the process, separate from just, you know, wanting to be obviously a part of that perfect game, you know, behind the dish.
Right. Okay, we're going to do some rapid fire questions about
Go for it.
Girls on your team or moments. Okay.
Okay, go.
You need to have one person up to bat, current team, not history of UCLA, like current 2020 team.
Okay.
One person has the chance to win the game, runner on second, tie ball game. Who do you want up to bat?
Aaliyah Jordan.
Me too. I would pick her for sure. Okay. Teams like really tight. Their buttholes are just tight. They don't feel like they're just like not themselves. Who's the girl on the team that's going to rally everybody together? Who's going to be that leader?
Oh, you know, the cool part about that is that changes all the time. But I can tell you that Inouye-Perez did a great job of keeping it real. She's a really strong leader on the field as an example, but there were moments where she could pull together. But that changed. The cool part about that is I love it is that changed moment to moment. We even had a transfer, Lainey Wiz, who could keep things kind of silly and be able to inspire. But if I really were to say like inspirational, Megan Faramo does a great job of getting in there and just like, let's go. I mean, just with great energy and passion to be able to flip it. I love how Megan plays the game. She's got so much positive energy.
She's so fun to watch.
She is. She's
like pre-game, during, like at all moments of the game, she's just really fun to watch.
And she's so authentically real. I mean, people love, there's nothing better than having a team. I think that's a big part of our success. People love to play behind Megan. You know, she is energized. She's with them. She credits them constantly. She is just that true epitome of team player.
Okay. Like sleeper hitter off the bench. Like you need a pinch hitter in a certain moment. Like you thought this girl was going to get a chance to come up big sometime down the line. Who would it be off the bench?
Well, I'm going to say two things. Last year it was Malia Quarles.
Yeah.
And
which she's on this live right now. Malia's on this live.
And Malia knew that. She was ready for her one shot. And, You know, if I were talking about this year's team, we didn't have a large squad. So, you know, Jackie Prober and
Right.
J-Rod were off the bench, but we had several that were able to come off the bench to be able to do things. I credit our team to being able to be prepared that if you're not the one in the lineup, you're going to get your one-shot moment. So everybody is prepared for that moment. And that's not to escape the question. I truly believe that every single hitter can come off the bench. And one of the cool things is I had a freshman, Taylor Edwards. No one really knows who Taylor is, right? And she is somebody who could be she's just a phenomenal athlete. But she got out there and we ended our season where she ended up coming in, had less than 10 at bats for the preseason, came in and hit a walk-off. And I thought, there you go.
So cool. Yeah.
I mean,
there's your 2020 moment.
So very, very cool. It was cool that her teammates recognized her, but our Bruins prepare for that moment, all of them, whether they're in the lineup or not. So there's a great deal of trust with the runner on second that we're going to find a way to get it done.
Do you think that 2020 statistics, individual hitting statistics, pitching statistics should count for career?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I would say yes. I would hope they would, in that they were statistics, period, with an asterisk that they weren't complete for a season. But statistics are statistics. We did play some great opponents. You can't, you know, timing of a season, all those things. No one looks at the overall body when you're going for an All-American and saying, oh, these were preseason stats and these were Pac-12 stats, and then postseason's not even included in the whole overall body. So it was
right.
It was
All-American,
yeah. So it was incomplete, but I think there were some stats that definitely showed, you know, where you were heading and trending as an individual or even as a team. That's a good question, and I think it should be credited with an asterisk that it wasn't complete.
Yeah, I had trouble. We debated this on the ESPN 7 Innings podcast, and like Jess Mendoza and I are like, no, there's no way they shouldn't count, because, like, for example, right now Jessie Warren has 53 more at bats than Lauren Chamberlain right now, and she's still gonna have a whole nother season to break her record. Oh, so it's like crazy when you think about that, you know?
Yeah, I didn't think about
that.
Right,
or like Jenny Dalton Hill has the RBI record, and it's like, okay, there's a really solid chance that a Maya Brady or a Kinsey Hansen at Oklahoma, like probably the two top freshmen in the country, will break that record by the time they're a senior, because they have 50% more of a season. So I like the asterisk idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what is your personal favorite coaching moment at the World Series all time?
Oh, let me think. All time. That's a.
You could give more than one. I know it's hard, or just like, because it's hard because maybe tomorrow you have a different one.
I think, yeah. I mean, there's some, you know, just the last one of the excitement of I love how postseason brings out the drama, and you know, for us to be an out away and have the game tied up, and how quickly the emotions can sway, and for us to come right back and boom, base hit, get a runner on. That was just a sign of this team punching back, which was a big part of our theme. So I was super proud of. There's so many, but if I were to look back in the history of UCLA,
yes,
one of the most epic moments. Yeah, one of the most epic moments was being down by 1 in the 7th versus Texas. And coming back literally to get the runner on scoring position, and Tasha Watley, you know, I'll never forget Tasha Watley coming around and scoring that run to get us to the championship game. I mean, that was a moment of what we really call Bruin magic. Down by 1 versus Kat Osterman for the Natty. I mean, to get in the national championship game, and for us to do that in that dramatic fashion was one of those moments where I said, "Oh my God, this stuff is real."
I have goosebumps. It's crazy. I was in high school, but I still remember. I can remember her slide and the camera panning to Caitlin Bainey, and I remember it all.
I mean, we watched it maybe 1,000 times before the championship. We pulled an all-nighter, but you know, shout out Kat Osterman, you are still the boss. But that's why it was such an epic moment, because to be able to do that, we had to come back and beat her twice, and that was just unbelievable. But then to follow that up, Jen, to be able to have, I was just on a Zoom with all those guys just yesterday, the 2003 team, and we were talking about that to lose game 1 of the World Series, and the way we did it, we had 7 errors. I mean, we set a record. Fight our way back, beat Texas twice, and then get back to the championship against the team that knocked us into the losers bracket for the championship, and for Kira to throw a 9-inning no-hitter versus the team that knocked her in the losers bracket was an epic moment. And I tell our pitchers, I tell Megan, I tell all those guys all the time, I'm like, there's nothing that is impossible. So don't ever, ever put yourself in that position to be defeated, especially in the middle of a tournament. Like, never. I mean, loser's bracket means nothing. There's just no option now. But we have experience in understanding how that works out to the nth degree. Kira Garrow goes down. It's the only to throw that no hitter, and
the only pitcher ever, I know, in World Series history. Yeah.
And she got rocked.
No one's even thrown a seven-inning no-hitter. No one's ever thrown a no-hitter. Like, oh, it's crazy.
100%. And she got rocked, people, in that first game. I mean, in tears right after that game, and came back to that tournament and threw a no-hitter. Don't ever say it's too hard, ever.
Oh, it's so good. All right. Well, it was so great talking to you. I'm going to end it there because I have goosebumps and I'm just excited.
Thank you for the shout out, Jen Schroeder. Okay. I love you. I love what you're doing in this world. You're making a difference. And I can't wait for your little Jen. And to everybody else, please, take care of you. We'll get through this together and get back out on the dirt. But in the meantime, it's time for us to make sure that we take care of our families.